Welcome back to YMHA. I am here tonight with Allie. For those of you who've been following along and just joined in, we wrapped up a two-part conversation over the past two videos about stress, anxiety, and relationships. So tonight we're going to delve a little bit deeper into it. Allie is joining us to talk about her struggle. She's been very open with us. So first, Allie, welcome back. Thanks for joining us tonight and opening up to us. How you doing?
I am awesome. How are you?
Doing very well, thank you. So, for those of you who don't know, just started following us, or don't know Allie, first of all, great person, one of my, great friend of mine. So happy to have her back. And she's been very great about just opening up to us and talking about her struggles and battling mental health, stress, anxiety, and depression. For those of you who don't know or haven't seen or heard, Allie was faced with a very tough decision over the past couple of weeks here. And obviously it took a toll on her mental health. And we're all here at YMHA on behalf of all of us. We obviously wish you the absolute very best. And we're here if you ever need anything. I think you know that we've all expressed that. But for those of you that don't know, a little background, her four-legged child, her fur child, as we all know, pets are, part of our family. And that's how I feel. That's how Allie feels. And a lot of us here feel. But she's had to make that tough decision with her little fur child, Whiskey, right? Who was, correct me if I'm wrong, Allie, an acute renal failure, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you had to make that hard decision. You talked to the vets, you and Scuba, your fiance, still weird for me to say, by the way, that you kind of had to make that decision of there's nothing else the vets can do at this time. And you had to make that tough decision, and it hurts, and you've been struggling with that. And that it's emotional. We get it with having to put Whiskey down. So first and foremost, we're sorry for that. We're here for you. And we love you. So pets are part of our life. We all know that. So let's kind of jump right into it. Got a couple questions that kind of came in to us, and a couple that, I think here at YMHA, we all want to know. First and foremost, obviously, you've been very open with us and our audience about your struggles with depression and anxiety. What the stress and the anxiety that's come along with making this decision? How have you been handling that? What's going on with the decision that was around making that decision?
So when you presented this question, the timing of my life situations was really perfect with the time that a lot of these questions came in, because it's kind of a little bit more relatable to something, that you can, rather than a broad answer.
Mm-hmm.
And this is something specifically that has triggered a whole lot of stress for me.
Right.
Something that's, not that it means not to downplay it, but, it's not, life crippling what I'm going through right now, but sometimes at the moment it can feel that way. And I've been so pushed to my limits with, everything else going on, everyday stressors and things like that. And, the normal family stuff. But, so for this was kind of like the cherry on top of the cake, like the nail in the coffin. It kind of just pushed me over, and it's been really rough. I've been very snippy and, so much sass and attitude.
Right.
It's kind of put a little bit of stress on my fiance with him dealing with it, because tend to kind of take things out on those that, are closest to you, they say. And he's definitely, had to deal with a lot of Allie. So it's been a challenge, and I've been dealing with my own guilt, and did I make the right decision? What if I would have did this differently?
Right.
So that's weighing on me as is, and I kind of project that on him sometimes, and that stresses me out even more, and it kind of just snowballs, and sometimes I spiral a little bit, and that's kind of how we are. So we're really and this is the first time we've been put in such a rough emotional state with me and my anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
During the terms of our relationship for the last couple of years. So we're definitely, it's a learning process for us,
right.
With how I'm handling all of this stuff. So.
Okay. And for those of you who don't know Allie, when she says that he's gotten a lot of Allie, Allie is full of sass and rigor and is just a spitfire type of personality. And I think that's what really when we all met and started hanging out, that's what really clicked between her, Scuba, and myself, is that we have a very similar mentality of we're just going to have fun, live our life, and you know what, if we're doing it just the three of us, we're good with that. If everybody wants to join in, even better. So, you know, I can see how it's kind of that cherry on top, right? That was that last nail in your coffin, and nobody's going to ever downplay that. So my next question would be is around that last nail in the coffin, that last, you know, kind of, I hate to say it this way, for lack of a better phrasing, pushing you over the edge per se, right? Mm-hmm. How has that stress, that anxiety, how is that, you said it, alluded to it a little bit with, you know, Scuba's gotten a whole lot of Allie with this whole situation, and but how has that impacted the relationship so far? Good, bad, and different?
We've been bickering a lot, and over nothing, silly things, you know, like just, and it's been me on edge, and it's definitely been me, and he's been doing the absolute best that he can,
right?
Because we've openly talked about these things, and especially, you know, in recent weeks with, you know, the podcast, and he's been listening, and, you know, for him listening to us, you know, after we post our shows, for him to hear not just my, you know, feedback and stuff, but, you know, yours and Amy's and Travis's, it's definitely, this has kind of put a lot of our stuff to the test. And so while we've been bickering and we've been going through, you know, a lot of rough stuff, and him dealing with his own grief because he was super close with the baby. So it's like that kind of stuff. It's the argumentative over stupid stuff that I just tend to be. And, you know, we're learning to work with it and through it. And, you know, when I was faced in a very similar situation years ago with another ex, like just seeing the way that relationship worked through things and the way we handled it and the way that we took it out and comparing it to what I'm going through now, it's the most healthiest thing that I've seen, because this is normal stuff. You're going to go through these things. So, you know, we bickered and we go back and forth, but, you know, we have our 5 minutes of quiet, and then one of us will be like, listen, like, this is just what I'm trying to say, or I'm sorry that I'm doing this. Like, I'm just, you know, whatever. Like, we try to clarify where our feelings are, try to re-communicate it to each other. And it makes it that much easier to kind of get through it. And, you know, it kind of helps me because it kind of just really, for me, like, it just shows that he's being patient with me, you know, that he understands that I'm not meaning to be this way. And because on top of all of the guilt I'm already feeling, then I feel guilty myself because I know that I shouldn't project that on him. And I tend to. So it's been an experience, but, you know, we've made sure that, like, you know, we have a rule, like, we don't go to sleep angry with one another. He does not leave for work angry with me, or vice versa. Like, we always make sure that whatever the fight is, like, we take it, we shelf it, and we keep going. So I think that's kind of been like our good thing, because when we've been together, you know, even though things have kind of been a little bit rough this past weekend with our emotions being on edge, we've managed to still have really good times together throughout, you know, the rest of the time, and kind of, which we needed, like, we needed that good quality time to get us both through it. So it's definitely been a new experience for me when it comes to stress.
So let me kind of follow that up with this quick question. You talked about it, and I'm going to say that you're going to agree with this, but during this whole time, communication has really been the key, and it's the focus of the relationship for the two of you, right?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So let's talk about communication just a little bit here. And actually, I had this come in. This was a question that was asked, and they were talking about, you know, coping mechanisms and people that are in relationships, right? That's the idea of what we're talking about over these next several episodes and the past couple here. How is your partner, so in this case, how is Scuba helping you cope through this particular process, and vice versa? How have you helped Scuba along?
So he's the easy one. You know, he's not very expressive with his emotions, but he's good at processing them, if that makes sense. So it's not like he's bottling them up. He just processes through it so quick and easy. Like, yeah, he's tore up and he's upset, but it's not in a way that's kind of holding him back. I'm the one struggling. So he's been really good. Like, you know, like we, you know, the day that we, you know, put her down, like he went with me, you know, it was kind of rough. He was working a lot. So I was the one running back and forth to the vet for her treatments every day, and, you know, running to the different locations for the specialist. So like he didn't, you know, have to go through all of that. So I think I absorbed a little bit more of like just the exhaustion emotionally. so like when it came down to it, like he was devastated. Like, I mean, we both were, it was rough. And we kind of like decided to, we went, we had lunch, and then we did a little bit of retail therapy, and, you know,
Okay.
kind of, you know, like got some wedding stuff done, you know, and, you know, spent a little bit of that money and kind of just like focused it on the positive. And, you know, he just kept me distracted was the biggest thing was,
Right.
you know, like he made sure that like in the beginning, like the girls came over Friday night because he had to work. So I wasn't by myself. And stuff like that. And, you know, he's been really good about keeping me distracted. Today we did a bunch of wedding stuff, and it's getting a lot easier, obviously, you know, like, you know, now we're just working with Tequila being a little bit depressed because now she's starting to notice her sister didn't come home.
Right.
But like, so we like process through it really, really well together in that sense, you know, and that
Right.
doesn't mean that it didn't come with some downfall. There's always going to be, you know, lessons that we can learn. And um, you know, one of them was, you know, and he's still dealing with my anxiety and my depression and the way that I, you know, behave when I'm in a really rough state. And so he thought, okay, well, she needs to be distracted, you know, so, you know, after I babysat for a friend Saturday night. And so after, you know, I was done, he wanted me to come out with him and, you know, some of our friends and stuff. And, you know, I told him I was like, no, not interested. I don't want to go out. I look like a mess. I feel like a mess. Like, I'll pass. And instead of letting that just ride, he kind of like kept pushing as the night gone on. And, you know, it just, you know, he asked me like, you know, 10, 12 times, and it made me feel so more stressed out. And so that was like a learning lesson for us. You know, he has not had to see me in this much of a low with my anxiety, really, and depression.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this is definitely the strongest battle that I've had to fight since we've been together, at least. So this has like been a learning experience, but it's, you know, so it's been, you know, we've been finding ways to cope with it. And a lot of the stuff that, you know, I've been talking to Amy a lot,
Good.
one-on-one. So like, we've taken all of that advice, and he's really tried to pay attention to what I need, and I've tried, probably not the best, but I'm trying to communicate what I need from him as well. So it's definitely been challenging, don't get me wrong, but
Okay.
it's been healthy. You know
Good.
what I mean? Like
Yeah.
as you know, you're gonna have your challenges that you're gonna have to cross as a couple, and especially in like situations like this when dealing with somebody who's got so much of the emotional struggles that I do. So for the way that he's been overcoming things and dealing with things, like, I mean, like, we fight nasty sometimes, you know what I mean? Like, and
Sure.
I'm quick at the tongue, man. Like,
Yeah,
there are
you
no
definitely
feelings
are.
saved when it comes to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sometimes I can be a little bit too savage, and, you know, he doesn't love me any less for it. He doesn't think any less of me for it. I don't
Right.
feel like, you know what I mean? Because especially like, because I'm hard enough on myself after that, because I don't mean these mean things I say. So he's so patient with me.
Yeah.
And I think that that's the really important thing, you know, that's the part of coping that
Right.
people don't really talk about a lot. It's, you know, what are you physically doing to help that person through? But it's how they react to our emotions that I realized is helping me cope so much more with it. Because
Good.
I really feel like I have a support system that I could free fall and he would catch me no matter what.
Awesome. So that's good. You know, the big thing that I heard, and I'm glad that it came out, and I'm glad that you talked about it a lot because it was a big point. I think people need to know that communication and just learning each other's, you know, and synchronizing each other, syncing up to each other's those idiosyncrasies and understanding. I hate to say it, but the psychology of each other is a big thing, right? The mental state, you know, how we work, how we react, how we, you know, are we proactive, reactive? What are we doing? And so the communication, 1,000% agree with you. And I think anybody out there would also agree, right? I know Amy, you and I, we've talked multiple times with Travis also, obviously, and communication seems to be the big thing to come back to. So the question that I had, and you actually tied it all in, and I'm glad that you're coping. But I want you to touch on, you know, for a few seconds here, a few minutes, excuse me, you know, what are you doing? This was a question that I actually had, right? Because I've been there. I see what you're going through. I've been there where my pets we've had to put down, and it's a hard decision. And I was a young child. And even if as I got older and whatever, it's a difficult decision. It's terrible, right? I would never want anybody to have to make that decision. But it has to be made, right? And you made it nonetheless. And you put on your brave face, and you and Scuba went and you did it. And just for, you know, to be very blunt, it sucks, right? It's a crappy situation, and a
Yeah.
crappy thing you guys went through, and they're still dealing with. But let's talk about for a moment here, if you would. So as of right now, everything going on, your mental health overall. What is Allie doing to take care of her mental health and not necessarily get better, not necessarily to rebound, but to just make sure you can ultimately, at some point, however long it may take, get yourself back to that happy, bubbly, quick-witted, sarcastic at times Allie that we all know and love. What are you doing to take care of yourself now?
So like little things, like I've been spending a lot of time with my friends. Like all the girls are over tonight and they're cooking me dinner right now. I feel like every time we record, somebody's cooking me dinner. So I've got the girls in the kitchen, like we're having a little girls' night.
Okay.
We're doing a little bit of pre-Halloween party prep tonight for this
Okay.
weekend. So like just spending a lot of time with my friends. I am booking myself a hair appointment. I'm gonna do a little treat show self spa stuff, and go get a massage and stuff, and kind of just do like some really good self-care
Okay.
stuff. And my birthday is next month, so I told Scuba today, like, I want to go away for my birthday. I think we need a trip, so I'm gonna, we're gonna do a little weekend getaway somewhere and kind of just de-stress and
Right.
really kind of just reset mentally and take a break, because I think everything is really overwhelming. Like the wedding
Yeah.
has been an incredible outlet, and it's been a ton of fun working on all of those plans and stuff. So getting all of that done has been a great distraction in general for all of the negativity, because I've got a lot of other stuff going on too with the fallout with my dad and stuff. So it's been a real stressful couple months, and just like some self-care, and like having the wedding as a distraction has been amazing. And now we're going to take a little break and kind of get away and just relax for a few
Good.
days. So just kind of like I'm doing like a combination of things. I'm cocktailing, if you will.
There you go. I think that's important. You got to find what works for you. And if it's keeping your mind busy, whether it's getting away just to kind of shut the world out even for a day, even for an hour, right? It helps. Everybody's going to react differently. Everybody's going to cope differently. So I'm glad to see that you are taking care of yourself. I'm glad to see, you have that outlet, you have that support group. And again, obviously for everybody watching, Allie is well aware. We have a group chat that we are, if I'm being very blunt and forthright, we talk a lot of crap in that group chat of ours. But we all know it's all in fun, it's all in jest. But at the end of the day, Travis, Allie, Amy, we all know that we are all there for each other. And, in the short time we've all been doing this together, they have become family for me. So they know that if they need anything, they can reach out, even if it's just somebody to vent to. So I think it's great, Allie, that you're taking care of yourself. You've got the outlet. You've got that lack of a better word, that Molotov cocktail to help you kind of cope and take care of your mental health.
Blaming.
Yeah. Look, so let me ask you this. You want to go away for your birthday. Your birthday's next month. Where are you going? Where is Scuba? Or Scuba's just supposed to surprise you for this?
So we mentioned today, we've been talking about the Keys forever.
Okay.
And we mentioned today, I was like, fuck, like, let's just go. Like, screw it. Let's just go to the Keys, whatever. And then after he left for work, I'm like, why are we going to go to the Keys? Like, we go there like all the time. So I really want to see snow. And Scuba's never seen snow. I've been like ski resorts with like, crap snow, but never the real stuff. Right. So I don't know where we're going to go.
So I heard Breckenridge, Colorado, if you want to wait till January, save up a little bit more money. Breckenridge, Colorado, I've got friends that are out there. They've got places out there that they go during the winter. They said January, phenomenal time, beautiful snow.
Just want to make a snowman.
I mean, I think we all do. I just want to lay in the snow, if I'm being honest, just because I feel like I might not actually feel like I'm dying of heat like we are here in Florida every day. Which I think we all talked about it, right? That's a great idea. Get through it. Do what you got to do. I think I just saw Scuba walk behind you if he's home.
Oh, it's one of the girls.
Oh, is it? Okay. Which is fine. So, hi, how are you? But, what I think what you're doing is great, and I'm proud of you, and I'm happy for you. And if you need anything, that we're all here. Other than that, guys, this was something that Allie, Amy, Travis, and myself, we had all talked about because we think it's important, right? I think you agree, Allie, that you understand our struggles because we're not alone, right? Especially now with the pandemic, with quarantine, it's okay to not be okay. So the next 3 videos you're going to see over the next 3 to 4 weeks are actually going to be with Amy, right? And I think, Ali, we talked about this. You were there with us, obviously, when we talked, but she's going to put together the, forgive me if I'm saying this wrong, the internal representation system, the internal rep. So it's going to talk about the different types of way we learn and we process and communicate. So guys, stay tuned for that, because I think it's going to be an in-depth, nice in-depth look as to how we are as people. And I don't want everybody to think it's the end-all be-all, but it's a good general overview of how we are. And I think it's good to have that outside perception and see what we're doing. So, we'll stay tuned for that. Ali, I want to thank you. I know you're busy tonight. Good luck on the studying you're doing for your continuing education. I've got those coming up myself, so I know what you're going through with the girls. Have fun. Thanks for joining us tonight. Anything you want to add before we end the night?
Just love yourself, and no matter how rough it gets, don't be so hard on yourself. Like, give yourself a little bit of a break and be forgiving to yourself, because if you want other people to forgive you when you are in those tough positions like I've been lately, you got to forgive yourself first.
There you go. I love it. Guys, forgive yourself. Be kind to everyone, no matter what you're doing in your day. And always try to put a smile on somebody else's face. Ali, thank you again so much for joining us. Guys, we'll talk to you soon. Have a great night.